Welcome to Cherry Blossom BL Story, where emotions bloom and stories unfold. Sit back, relax, and enjoy today's chapter.
20 years ago, two boys made a promise, one midnight, one place, to see who became more successful. No contact, no mercy, just proof. He showed up rich, powerful, ruthless. The other came back pale, broken, collared, with a wife, 2 kids, and secrets that could destroy everything. But promises like that don't end with a handshake. They end with handcuffs, with tears, with one man whispering, "You're mine now, forever." He waited 20 years to claim him, and he did, completely, irreversibly. Chapter 1. The Midnight Pact. 20 years earlier, the diner smelled of burnt coffee and fryer grease, the kind of place that never closed and never quite cleaned. Neon buzzed overhead, throwing pink and blue light across cracked vinyl booths. 2 boys sat across from each other, elbows on the sticky table, a half-eaten basket of fries between them like a shared trophy. The taller one, Elias, leaned forward, eyes bright with the kind of certainty only teenagers can carry without embarrassment. "So we do it like this," he said, voice earnest. "Exactly 20 years from today, midnight, right here, we come back and show each other everything. Pictures, proof, whatever. Whoever made it bigger wins." The other boy, Ronan, slouched back, arms crossed, one corner of his mouth curled in permanent skepticism. He was shorter than, wiry, already carrying the kind of stillness that made people nervous. "And if neither of us makes it?" he asked. Elias laughed. "Then we both lose, but we won't. You'll probably own half the city by then, albeit I don't know. Something good, honest work, helping people." Ronan snorted. "Honest work gets you a grave with a nice view of nothing." "Shut up." Elias shoved a fry at him. "Promise me, no contact till then, no cheating, just show up." Ronan looked at him for a long moment, really looked. Then he reached across the table and gripped Elias's forearm, hard enough to hurt. "Deal," he said. 20 years, midnight, this shithole diner, I'll be here, and when I walk in richer than God, you better not cry about it." Elias grinned, fearless. "And when I walk in happy, you better not pretend you're not jealous." They shook on it, fierce, childish, unbreakable. The neon flickered once, like it was sealing the vow. Present-day February, midnight, the diner was gone. In its place stood a 24-hour cafe with 2 bright fluorescents and a flickering open sign. The corner looked smaller now, meaner, swallowed by taller buildings and years of neglect. A single street lamp buzzed overhead, throwing long shadows across wet pavement. Ronan Kane stood beneath it, back to the wall, black wool coat open over a tailored shirt. A cigarette glowed between scarred fingers. He hadn't changed in the obvious ways, still tall, still broad-shouldered, but time had sharpened him. The boy's wiry frame had thickened into muscle earned through violence, not gyms. His eyes were colder, darker, the kind that made strangers cross the street without knowing why. He exhaled smoke slowly, watching it curl into the night. The watch on his wrist, black Patek, understated except for the price, read 12:02. He didn't fidget, he never had. Footsteps, soft, hesitant, an arm slipped around his shoulders from behind, light, almost playful, the ghost of a gesture from 20 years ago. Ronan moved faster than thought. His free hand flashed inside the coat, fingers closing around the grip of the concealed Glock. The motion was smooth, practiced, lethal. He spun and froze. The man standing there was small, smaller than Ronan remembered, pale skin, glowing unnaturally under the streetlight, almost luminous. Delicate features, high cheekbones, full lips parted in a nervous half-smile. Hair still dark, but longer now, falling softly over his forehead. He looked fragile, breakable, like someone had taken the boy Ronan once knew and dipped him in porcelain. Elias. Ronan's hand stayed on the gun for another heartbeat, then slowly, very slowly, he let it fall back to his side. "Who the fuck?" he started, voice gravel. Elias's smile trembled, but didn't break. "Still don't know me, huh?" That voice, soft, familiar. The same one that used to laugh at Ronan's cynicism until dawn. Ronan exhaled sharply through his nose. The cigarette dropped, forgotten, hissing out in a puddle. Elias. The name came out like a curse and a prayer at once. They collided. Ronan's arms locked around him hard, crushing, like he was trying to fuse bone to bone. Elias made a small, startled sound, then melted against him, hands fisting in the back of Ronan's coat. They stayed like that for a long time, two shadows under the buzzing lamp, breathing each other in after 2 decades of silence. Ronan pulled back first. He held Elias at arm's length, eyes raking over him with clinical cruelty, the flawless white skin, the slender wrists. The body that looked like it would bruise if you stared too hard. You were taller than me, Ronan said flatly. Elias ducked his head, sheepish. Growth spurt missed me. Ronan's lip curled. And what the hell is this? He gestured at Elias's face, his arms, his entire being. You look like a fucking porcelain doll someone painted over. Pathetic. Elias flinched just a flicker, but didn't pull away. Skin treatments, he murmured. Long story. Ronan snorted. I bet. He released Elias's shoulders, but kept one hand curled around the back of his neck, possessive, controlling, like he might disappear again if let go. Come on, Ronan said, already turning toward the cafe door. We've got 20 years of catching up to do. And I want to see exactly how far the golden boy fell. Elias followed without protest, the neon light washing over both of them as they stepped inside, Ronan first, Elias a half step behind, like he already knew his place in the shadow. The arrogance was already thick in the air. It always had been. End of Chapter 1, Chapter 2. Proof of victory, the cafe was nearly empty at this hour. Just a bored barista wiping the same counter for the 10th time, and a lone trucker dozing in the far corner with his head on folded arms. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, harsh and unforgiving, turning everything a sickly yellow. Ronan chose the booth farthest from the door, the one with its back to the wall. Habit. He slid in first, long legs stretching out, coat still on like armor. Elias hesitated a second before sitting opposite him, hands folded on the scarred tabletop as though he needed something to hold onto. Ronan didn't waste time on small talk. He pulled his phone from an inside pocket, matte black, no case, screen already unlocked, and swiped once. Then he turned it toward Elias. Take a look. The first photo was an aerial shot, a sprawling waterfront compound surrounded by high walls topped with razor wire. Black SUVs lined the drive like obedient dogs. Armed men in tactical gear stood at intervals along the perimeter, faces blurred, but the rifles weren't. A primary residence, Ronan said, voice flat, 12 bedrooms, panic room, helipad on the roof. I don't use half of it, but it's there. He swiped next, interior shots. Marble floors veined with black, a vault door standing open, stacks of banded cash visible inside, along with neatly arranged bricks that Elias didn't want to identify. Another photo showed a garage, 6 matte black vehicles, engines gleaming under LED strips. One had bullet holes stitched across the driver's door like careless embroidery. Ronan kept swiping. A grainy still from security footage, a man in a suit on his knees in what looked like a warehouse, head bowed, 2 of Ronan's men standing over him, blood on the concrete, not a lot, just enough. Elias swallowed, Ronan quiet. Ronan's thumb moved again. This one was cleaner, a private jet interior, leather seats, champagne flutes catching light. Ronan in the foreground, glass raised, smirk in place. Behind him, a terrified, looking subordinate in a cheap suit held a briefcase like it might explode. That's last month, Ronan said. By run, the guy in the back, he thought he could skim. He doesn't think that anymore. He set the phone down between them, screen still glowing. That's mine. All of it built from nothing. Well, from whatever was left after I stopped playing nice. Ports, routes, people who owe me favors they can never repay. I own the shadows on 3 coasts. If something moves and someone wants to keep breathing while it moves, they come to me. Elias stared at the phone like it might bite him. Then, slowly, he reached into his own pocket and pulled out his device, an older model, cracked screen protector, case worn at the corners. He opened his gallery. The first photo was soft-edged, his wife laughing in a park, sunlight in her hair, one of the boys clinging to her leg. The second, the same boys at a birthday party, cake smeared across their faces, Elias kneeling behind them with a tired but genuine smile. The third, a modest 2-story house at dusk, porch light on, bikes scattered on the lawn. Ronan watched in silence for a full 10 seconds. Then he laughed short, sharp, cruel. "You traded brains for a picket fence and cock. Sucking side gigs," he said. "Disappointing." Elias's fingers tightened around the phone. "It's not like that. I have a family, stability." "The boys' stability," Ronan echoed, mocking. "You mean a mortgage you'll never pay off and a wife who doesn't know her husband's mouth has been on half the management floor." "That's not," Elias started. Ronan leaned forward, elbows on the table, eyes locked on Elias's face. "Don't lie to me, not after 20 years. He reached out slowly, deliberately, and caught Elias's chin between thumb and forefinger, tilting his head up into the light. The grip wasn't gentle. It was clinical, possessive. "Look at you," he murmured. "This skin, this glow. You didn't get that from sunscreen and good jeans. What did you do, Elias? Bleach yourself pretty so some old fuck in a corner office would keep signing your checks?" Elias tried to pull back. Ronan didn't let him. "Tell me." Elias's throat worked. "Skin treatments, years of them. The company preferred the look. It helped with promotions, with keeping projects." Ronan's thumb stroked once along Elias's jaw, almost tender, then hard enough to leave a faint red mark. "So you whitened yourself like a fucking geisha and opened wide whenever a contract was on the line." Elias closed his eyes. Ronan's voice dropped lower, vicious. "How many loads did you swallow to stay employed? Bet you cried prettily each time. On your knees in some supply closet, tie loosened, tears running down that perfect white face while he finished in your mouth. Did you thank him after? Say yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity." Elias jerked his head away. "Stop." Ronan didn't stop. He never had. "I'm not judging," he said, though the lie was thick in his tone. "I'm just curious. How many times did you tell yourself it was just business, just survival? How many times did you look in the mirror afterward and hate the reflection staring back?" Elias's hands were shaking now. "I did what I had to for them, for my family." Ronan leaned back, arms crossing over his chest. The phone between them still glowed with those family photos. Bright, ordinary, fragile. "Your family," he repeated softly. "The ones who don't know their daddy's been on his knees for strangers so they could have soccer cleats and birthday cake." Elias said nothing. Ronan studied him another long moment, cold, calculating, like he was pricing livestock. Then he stood. "You're coming with me," he said. Not a question, a command. Elias looked up, startled. "What? We're settling this properly." Ronan's smile was thin, dangerous. "Not here, under shitty lights with cold coffee. Somewhere I can see exactly how far you've fallen, and how much further I can take you." He didn't wait for an answer. He simply turned and walked toward the door, coat flaring behind him. After a heartbeat, Elias rose too slowly, like a man stepping off a cliff, and followed. The bell above the door jingled once as they left. Outside, the night swallowed them both. Ronan didn't look back. He didn't need to. He already knew Elias would come. End of Chapter 2. Chapter 3. The hotel claimed the elevator ride was silent. Ronan stood with his back to the mirrored wall, arms crossed, watching Elias's reflection the entire way up. Elias kept his eyes on the floor numbers ticking higher, 14, 15, 16, each one feeling like a step deeper into something he couldn't name. The air inside the private lift smelled of leather and expensive cologne and the faint metallic tang of Ronan's cigarette smoke that still clung to his coat. The doors opened on the penthouse floor. Ronan didn't ask. He simply walked out, expecting Elias to follow. Elias did. The suite was obscene in its scale. Floor to ceiling glass overlooking the glittering city, black marble floors, a bar that looked carved from obsidian. Low lights, amber and intimate, cast long shadows. A king bed dominated the far wall, dark sheets already turned down, as though someone had known company was coming. Ronan shrugged off his coat, tossed it over the back of a leather armchair. Underneath, the black shirt clung to muscle earned in places Elias didn't want to imagine. He moved to the bar without looking back. "Sit," he said. Elias perched on the edge of the sectional sofa, hands clasped between his knees. The leather was cold against his thighs through his slacks. Ronan poured 2 fingers of amber liquid into a heavy crystal tumbler. He didn't offer Elias one. He carried the glass to the window, stared out at the city lights for a long moment, then turned. "For 20 years," he said, voice low and dripping with contempt, "and you turned into a corporate whore." Elias flinched. Ronan took a slow sip, eyes never leaving Elias's face. "How many cocks before you learned to fake enthusiasm?" he continued. "Did the first one make you gag, or did you practice on bananas in the bathroom mirror like some desperate little twink? Tell me, I want details." Elias's throat worked. "It wasn't like that. It was only a few times. Only when, Ronan echoed mockingly. He set the glass down with deliberate care. "Only when the quarterly review was coming up. Only when the bonus depended on keeping the old man happy. Only when your kids needed new shoes. Spare me the sob story." He crossed the room in 3 long strides and stopped directly in front of Elias, forcing him to tilt his head back to meet his gaze. Elias's voice came out small. I never let anyone go further. Never let anyone inside." Ronan's lips curved, slow, predatory. "Good," he said softly. "Your whole stay's mine to ruin first." The words landed like a slap. Before Elias could react, Ronan's hand shot out, fingers closing around Elias's throat, not choking, not yet, just holding, controlling. The grip was iron under velvet skin. "Stand up." Elias obeyed on shaking legs. Ronan's other hand fisted in the front of Elias's shirt and yanked him forward until their bodies pressed together, chest to chest, hip to hip. Elias could feel the heat radiating off Ronan, the hard planes of muscle, the unmistakable ridge of arousal pressing against his stomach. Ronan leaned in, mouth brushing Elias's ear. "Strip," he ordered, "everything now." Elias's hands trembled as he fumbled with buttons, shirt first, sliding off pale shoulders, pooling on the floor, then undershirt, trousers, underwear last. He stood naked under the low lights, skin luminous and vulnerable, every inch of him exposed. Ronan stepped back to look. His gaze was merciless, raking over Elias's slender frame, the faint tremble in his limbs, the way his cock hung half, hard despite the fear in his eyes. "On the bed," Ronan said, "face down, ass up." Elias hesitated. Ronan's hand cracked across his cheek sharp, stinging, not full force but enough to make Elias gasp. "I said now." Elias scrambled onto the bed, knees sinking into the mattress, face pressed to the cool sheets. He heard Ronan's belt unbuckle, the soft hiss of leather sliding free, the rustle of fabric as Ronan undressed. The mattress dipped behind him. Ronan's weight settled. Rough hands gripped Elias's hips, yanking them higher. "Spread yourself," Ronan growled. Elias reached back with shaking fingers, pulling his cheeks apart. Humiliation burned through him, hot and suffocating. Ronan spat once, wet and deliberate, then pressed 2 thick fingers inside without warning. Elias cried out, body clenching instinctively. "Relax," Ronan snapped. "Or it'll hurt worse." He worked Elias open, brutally scissoring, thrusting, curling until Elias was panting, tears streaking the sheets. When Ronan finally withdrew, Elias whimpered at the emptiness. Then came the blunt pressure of Ronan's cock, thick, hot, unyielding. Ronan didn't ease in. He thrust forward in one brutal stroke, burying himself to the hilt. Elias screamed raw, broken, back arching, fingers clawing at the bedding. Ronan's hand wrapped around Elias's throat from behind, pulling his head up. "Cry louder," he snarled. hips snapping forward again and again. Let the whole fucking hotel hear what a slut my old friend became. Each thrust drove deeper, harder. Ronan's free hand cracked across Elias's ass, once, twice, leaving red handprints on pale skin. You feel that, Ronan rasped, voice wrecked with lust and rage. That's 20 years of waiting. Every time I thought about you, every time I fucked someone else and pretended it was you. This is what I wanted, to break you open, to make you mine. Elias sobbed, tears, snot, shame, body shaking under the relentless assault. His own cock leaked against his stomach, betraying him even as pain and humiliation tore through him. Ronan's rhythm faltered, hips stuttering, breath ragged. He yanked Elias's head back by the hair, forcing their mouths together in a bruising, biting kiss. Say it, he growled against Elias's lips. Say who you belong to. Elias's voice cracked. Why, you, louder. You, Ronan, I'm yours. Ronan came with a guttural curse, flooding deep inside, hips grinding as though he could brand Elias from the inside out. He didn't pull out immediately. Instead, he stayed buried, chest heaving, hands still around Elias's throat. After long minutes, he finally withdrew, slow, deliberate, watching his spend leak from Elias's abused hole. Elias collapsed forward, trembling, wrecked. Ronan rolled him onto his back with surprising gentleness, almost tender, then leaned over him. He reached for Elias's discarded phone on the nightstand. Unlock it. Elias's fingers shook as he pressed his thumb to the sensor. Ronan scrolled through contacts, messages, photos, methodical, possessive. When he was done, he dropped the phone onto Elias's chest. Run, he said quietly, and I'll find you. I always do. He leaned down, brushing sweat, damp hair from Elias's forehead. And now get dressed. I'm taking you home. Elias didn't argue. He couldn't, not anymore. End of Chapter 3, Chapter 4. The uninvited guest the next evening came too soon. Elias had spent the day in a fog, every step at work mechanical, every smile forced, every glance at his phone a jolt of dread. Ronan hadn't texted, hadn't called. But the silence felt worse than any message. It was the quiet of a predator circling, waiting for the right moment to strike. He arrived home just after 6. The boys were already inside, shouting over a video game in the living room. His wife, Lena, met him at the door with a tired smile and a quick kiss on the cheek. Dinner's almost ready, she said. Pasta, the kids begged for it. Elias nodded, throat tight. Sounds good. He was hanging his coat when the doorbell rang. Lena frowned. Were we expecting someone? You know, Elias said too quickly. He opened the door. Ronan stood on the porch in the same black coat from the night before, sleeves pushed up to reveal corded forearms. In one hand, a massive bouquet of white roses wrapped in black paper. In the other, 2 gift bags printed with cartoon characters the boys loved. He smiled, slow, charming, the kind of smile that made people trust him right before he took everything. Evening, Ronan said, voice warm as whiskey. Thought I'd drop by. Old friends should catch up properly, right? Lena appeared behind Elias, eyes widening at the flowers. Oh wow, these are beautiful. Ronan inclined his head. For the lady of the house. He handed her the roses, then looked past her to the boys who had paused their game and were peeking around the corner. And these are for the little men. He held out the bags. The older boy, 7, stepped forward first, hesitant but curious. Ronan crouched to their level, voice softening in a way that made Elias's stomach twist. Batman figures, Ronan said, pulling one out, and a whole set of building blocks for the engineer over here. He ruffled the younger one's hair. Heard you like to build towers taller than Dad. The boys lit up. Thank you. They chorused, already tearing into the bags. Lena laughed, delighted. You didn't have to do that. Come in. Please stay for dinner. There's plenty. Ronan straightened, eyes flicking to Elias for the first time since he'd arrived. The look was brief, but it burned, dark, hungry, proprietary. I'd love to, he said. Dinner was torture. Ronan sat across from Elias, Lena to his left, the boys chattering between bites. He was perfect attentive to Lena's stories about the kids' school projects, asking thoughtful questions, laughing at the right moments. He even helped clear plates without being asked, sleeves rolled higher, forearms flexing as he carried dishes to the sink. Every time he passed behind Elias's chair, his fingers brushed the back of Elias's neck, light, deliberate, gone in an instant, a reminder the boys adored him. By dessert, they were calling him Ron and begging him to stay longer. When Lena finally herded them upstairs for baths and bedtime stories, the house quieted. Elias stood in the kitchen doorway, arms crossed, heart hammering. Ronan leaned against the counter, drying his hands on a dish towel like he belonged there. "A nice family," he said quietly. "They seem happy." "Leave," Elias whispered. "Please, just go." Ronan's smile faded. He tossed the towel aside and closed the distance in 2 strides. Elias backed up until his shoulders hit the wall. Ronan caged him there, one hand planted beside Elias's head, the other gripping his jaw, forcing eye contact. "You'll suck me off," Ronan said, voice low and lethal, "or I tell your pretty wife exactly how you kept your job." Elias's breath caught. "You wouldn't." Ronan's thumb pressed into the soft skin under Elias's chin. "Try me." Silence stretched thick, suffocating. Then Elias's knees buckled. He sank slowly to the floor, back sliding down the wall until he was kneeling between Ronan's boots. Ronan didn't move to help. He simply unbuckled his belt, the metallic clink loud in the quiet kitchen. Zipper down, thick cock springing free, already hard, flushed, veins standing out. "Open," Ronan ordered. Elias's lips parted on a shaky exhale. Ronan fisted a hand in Elias's dark hair, tight, unyielding, and guided himself inside. The first thrust was shallow, testing. Elias gagged anyway, eyes watering. Ronan didn't care. He pushed deeper, hips rolling forward until the head bumped the back of Elias's throat. "Swallow every drop," Ronan growled, voice rough with satisfaction. "Practice for when I fuck your throat raw." He set a brutal rhythm, pulling Elias's head forward to meet each thrust, holding him there when he choked, letting him gasp for air only when black spots danced in Elias's vision. Tears streamed down Elias's cheeks. Saliva dripped from the corners of his mouth. His hands clutched at Ronan's thighs, not pushing away, just holding on. Ronan watched it all with cold intensity. "Look at you," he murmured, "on your knees in your own kitchen while your wife tucks your kids in." Pathetic, perfect. He sped up, hips snapping, breaths harsh. When he came, it was sudden and deep, flooding Elias's mouth, forcing him to swallow convulsively or choke. Ronan held him there until every last pulse was spent, then pulled out slowly, smearing the last drops across Elias's swollen lips. He tucked himself away, zipped up, buckled his belt. Elias stayed on his knees, trembling, face wet, chest heaving. Ronan crouched in front of him close enough that Elias could smell sex and expensive cologne. "Next visit," Ronan said softly, "we go further. No excuses." He brushed a tear from Elias's cheek with his thumb, almost gentle, then stood. Without another word, he walked to the front door. Elias heard the latch click open, heard the door close quietly behind him. He stayed on the kitchen floor long after the sound of Ronan's car faded into the night. Upstairs, Lena called down, "Elias, you okay? You've been quiet." He closed his eyes. "I'm fine," he lied. His voice cracked on the words. End of chapter 4.
That's all for today on Cherry Blossom BL Story. Thank you for watching. What do you think about this chapter? Did you like it? Or do you think something unexpected is coming? Comment your thoughts below. And subscribe for more stories.